So you're looking for ways to integrate into a new vehicle or an old vehicle for that matter. Well, you've come to the right place because on today's episode, we're diving into Wāvtech, the OEM integration specialist, because they've got a whole bunch of new goodies that you need to know about. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Wāvtech. And it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and you are tuned into CMA Networks, where we talk mobile electronics day in and day out. Today, we're talking OEM integration, and which better brand to discuss this with than with Wāvtech. I mean, these guys have literally reinvented in many ways some cool features, some cool solutions, and guess what? They're at it again with brand new product to talk about on today's show. Joining us now is, of course, their man, Jason Kemmerer. Jason, welcome again back to Connected. What are we going to be chatting about on this episode?
Hey, Ben. Yeah, great to be back. We've been busy in the background, even though we haven't added to our core line of integration LOCs in a while. We are now. So we have a new processor to talk about, as well as a new multi-channel amplifier that has amazing integration technology, that and the new summing processor. Plus, we'll talk about one of our existing products that really is the go-to for everyday installations.
All right, Jay, excited to get into it with you. But first, an opportunity for our partner, SiriusXM, to remind our viewers why it's always a great attachment sale. And when we come back, let's get into what's new at Wāvtech. We'll see you after the break.
Hey, Paul here with SiriusXM, and I'd like to talk to you about attachment selling and why the SiriusXM product is one of the best things to add, especially since we don't trade dollars with any other category. I could go through all of this, but let's hear what some of our dealers have to say.
It's an easy add-on that takes, 10, 15 minutes if we're running an antenna, 1 minute if we've got an adapter to plug it into the factory SiriusXM antenna, and it's extra money, so no brainer.
I present it to every customer because a lot of customers don't know what all they can do with Sirius. They don't know what all content they could have. It just makes too much sense not to sell it.
It creates a different customer loyalty and customer security when you explain to them why it's a better experience. Just gets them good back in the door. And then the next car, they're already asking for it again. So it just keeps selling itself. It makes more sense.
Well, there you have it. You heard from our dealers. Just remember some of the best practices. Make sure you have one on display so you can demo it. Make sure you're taking advantage of our rewards program, because if you're not taking advantage of that, you're leaving even more money on the table. Make sure you got our POP up on display. And other than that, just make sure you're recommending it.
And welcome back, everybody. Of course, welcome, Jason. Thank you for being here with us. Now, I know you've got a lot of interesting new things to talk about. And the first one, we're gonna just come right out of the gate. This is a big one. Now, up until now, and ever since the introduction of the Wāvtech amplifiers, I believe the most channels you had available was a 5, but that is no longer true. We are now introducing a brand new model called the link1400. Get ready for it, 8. So, of course, I'm guessing this is going to be an 8-channel amplifier. Jason, what can you tell us?
Well, thanks, Ben. Yeah, that's true. This is our first 8-channel, more than our 5-channel, and it has everything that the 5-channel had, but way, way, way more. It's got tons of processing built in, full bandpass capability, independent, high pass, low pass on all 8 channels. So you can do whatever active system you want. But we're also introducing something totally new, which is our matrix summing capability. All of our amplifiers had summing before, but now with the matrix summing switch here, you can actually send any channel to any channel, any combination of channels to any output channel. So it gives you total OEM integration flexibility.
First of all, matrix summing is super flexible, and I think you can literally do anything you want now that you have that flexibility to send whatever signal you want to whichever channel. But can you show me that amp one more time, Jay? I mean, this is a big amp. I mean, big for Wāvtech standards.
Well, it's the same size. It's the same size as the 1500.1. So it's 1 inch wider than our other Plus series amps, but it's the same exact size as the 1500.1.
Here's where I was getting to, though. Why don't you tell us what the power rating on that puppy is?
Well, that's why it's the same size as the 1500.1, because it has 8 channels of 175 watts times 8. So that's 1400 watts of rated power. And as you know, all of our amplifiers are well underrated. This amplifier is going to do north of 1700 watts, especially if you bridge some of the channels. So it's just a powerhouse. So it needs to be a little bit bigger, but it's the perfect match to go hand in hand with the 1500.1 with the line driver pre-outs and all that. So yeah, it's a powerful amp.
I'll tell you what, it's one of the most powerful 8-channel amplifiers that I've heard of so far. I mean, that's congratulations on that. That's really powerful and really makes me think about how that's gonna make a difference when it comes to individuals looking for maybe a one amplifier solution. You know, you can drive all these channels with tons of different power. Let's get into some of the other cool technologies. I know that you're pretty excited about how this amplifier can handle crossovers and be very flexible with setting up your system. So talk to me a little bit about that crossover flexibility.
Yeah, so the crossover is just, I mean, you can see just from the number of controls on here, we have a way more flexible crossover than even our 5-channel and our previous 700.4 did. This actually has a bandpass capability on all 8 channels, giving you fully active capability with the ×1 ×10 switch, independent high pass and low pass, so you can adjust the roll offs or the cutoffs how you want. And we also have the base processor built into. It's a separate processor actually that can be assigned to channel 5, 6, or 7, 8, or both, or the line driver pre-out. So the ultimate flexibility here is the crossover on all channels plus the base processor. So you can do this thing as like, 4 times 175 and then 2 times 350 bridged on the last 2 channels. Of course, with our level trim, you can adjust the tweeters down if you don't need that much power versus your mid-range and all that after whatever you do with the matrix summing. So just ultimate tuning flexibility with this amplifier.
All right, so let's stay on the topic about tuning. And one of the things that I think Wāvtech has really been successful with is what you do with bass, or bringing back bass and sounds or systems that didn't even have bass. But this new unit actually has a new combination of technologies, which actually incorporates both Bass Freak and something new called Auto Bass. Please explain what that is.
Yeah, so auto bass is a totally new approach to dealing with factory bass roll off that typically happens at a higher volume range on the factory radio, where the OEMs decided they need to put a high pass on there to keep you from blowing up their cheap speakers, right? So that's not so good for the signal that you want to add into a full powered aftermarket system. So with auto bass, it gives you the ability to automatically turn on our already extremely potent and flexible Bass Freak processor at a specific volume. So you just turn up to the volume where the radio starts dropping off the bass, and you set the sensitivity or the threshold for the automatic bass, and it'll then kick in our Bass Freak parametric EQ. Now the crossover is always on, of course. That's our 24 dB per octave subsonic and low pass, but the auto bass controls the parametric EQ automatically at a specific volume. But if you don't have bass roll off, of course you can turn the parametric EQ on all the time and use it for normal system tuning as you would with any vehicle.
Obviously, this is going to be a very big value add for anybody looking for all these features all built into one amplifier. But it doesn't stop there. There is one more signature maneuver that I know Wāvtech is very known for. And I'm going to assume this also acts as a line driver to make sure you have optimum signal as well, correct?
That's right, Ben. Yeah, just like the 700.4 did, it has the last 2 channels can be turned into a line driver. Actually, on the 700.4, it was always a line driver pre-out, so you couldn't use it as an input. So that limited some flexibility. We'll get to that now because we've improved that with the 1400.8plus. It's actually either an input or a line driver output. So if you're using it as an input, then maybe you're using the bass processor and auto bass with plus Bass Freak on the internal last 2 channels. All the channels can be bridged, but you can assign it to channel 5, 6, or 7, 8. But in the case you're using all those channels for mids and highs, mid bass, mid range tweeter, then you're going to want to add a subwoofer amp, and that's through the line driver pre-out, which is like all of our LOCs and line drivers. You get over 10 volts RMS output with really low output impedance, super sound quality, low noise, and ability to drive any amplifier to full output with its gain turned all the way down. So you got ultimate dynamic range and sound performance.
All right, Jay, really thankful that you're here to give us all this cool information. That was the link1400.8plus 8-channel amplifier. Tons of goodies on it, tons of tools. Great job. Now we're going to divert our attention to some essential tools. And by essential tools, we're referring to summing processors, which, let's be honest, Wāvtech is kind of known for. You kind of built your whole name on this. Everybody knows the link4, the link6, the link8. But if you notice, or if you've heard yet, and maybe you're hearing it for the first time right here, there is a new version coming out. We're going to focus on the link6 Plus. This is going to be the first one of the batch that's coming out, guys. And this bad boy has some upgrades. And Jay, please take it away. Tell us what's new with the Link 6 Plus.
Well, I mean, there's a lot new. I don't even hardly know where to start. You know, this has been something we've been thinking about for a number of years. The link 4, 6, and 8 were part of our initial lineup, so they've been out for quite some time, and we've made running changes on them throughout the years. You know, different things with the loading and different things with the outputs and stuff. But this is a totally new design that builds on that legacy of the link 4, 6, 8 platform, but just adds tons of more controls, a new matrix summing that I talked about with the amplifier, plus adding a level trim output like the amplifiers have. So that's a whole new level of convenience for integration. You can just turn all the gains on your amplifiers all the way down, and just use this level trim to get the output difference you need after, you know, 2 channels of input, or doing all the inputs as a summing, and sending it to, now you can send that sum to all the outputs. Before, we had a reroute where you could get a full 3-way sum on the link 6 and then send it back to channel 1, 2. We don't need that anymore, because the matrix summing allows you to send all the inputs in any combination to all the outputs in any combination. So super flexible with the matrix summing. And there's quite a bit more. I don't know where to go next.
Now, I'm taking a lot of assumptions here, but so far I've been kind of right, because I kind of get to know the DNA of what Wāvtech products are all about. Now, don't tell me that the new Link 6 Plus doesn't have some type of bass restoration. Am I wrong or right?
Well, it has a full parametric EQ along with our new auto bass, actually. So this gives you the capability to compensate for factory bass roll-off, or tune your system however you want. You can use the auto bass to automatically turn on, or you can turn on the parametric EQ and use it for tuning, or fixing a constant roll-off. Like, some channels in OEM systems just don't have a lot of bass, or they're already high passed all the time. So you can use that to restore those bass frequencies for your subwoofer channels, just like the linkDQ has always done for us. But now with the auto bass, it can be done automatically at a specific volume level. So that's really a big deal, and we're doing it in a totally different way that has been done before. It's with a parametric EQ instead of just a bass shelf, so it actually works where you need it, not just a one size fits all.
And ultimate adjustability.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very cool. Now, let's talk about the inputs on these things. What kind of flexibility do we have as far as the inputs go?
Well, we have 6 channels of inputs, and like I said, with the matrix summing, you can use that in any way you want. One other huge improvement that we made is, before, we had 2 input ranges for high level input only on the speaker level input. So that was the 20 volt or the 40 volt range. We've changed that now to be a 4 position switch. So you can set it from anywhere from 5 volts to 40 volts. So 5 volts, 10 volts, 20 volts, 40 volts. So what that means now is this is actually a 6-channel line driver. So you can use this after a DSP or after a factory radio, and just do some RCA to wire adapters in here and use it as a true line driver as well, besides all its OEM integration capabilities all the way up to 40 volts that can handle any system there is out there.
Well, we say that for now. Right? Who knows what the future is, but let's just say 40 volts is a big range. Okay. Last but not least, let's talk a little bit about control. Like, how do you control this thing? What type of options do we have? Is there a knob involved?
Yeah, there is, Ben. Actually, the same knob that has always come with the Link 4, 6, and 8. It's a digital controller that actually has 2 little dip switches on the back that talk to the microcontroller that's in the processor, that lets you assign what the knob does. So in the past, the knob has been a master volume control, or just sub-level control, or both, depending on which mode you pick. And also, probably should mention that the Link 6 and the Link 6 Plus has a auxiliary input. So you have a secondary source that you can add in. Say if your older OEM vehicle never had Bluetooth, you can add a Bluetooth dongle on it, or you can use it as a second source for something else. Where I was talking just before about the inputs and the level range, the different levels, the 4 different levels, you don't really only need to use the aux input anymore, because now you have all the channels are capable of taking a low level signal in too. But a huge improvement that we made for very special applications, such as Sprinter vans and things like that, where you want to have a rear sound system and be able to fade it away, we've actually added a fader control to this. So it's very simple to program. You can use it in any of the modes, any of the different knob configurations. So you can have master volume, sub-level, and fade adjust. And it's really cool for a lot of different applications, but particularly was thinking about, the Sprinter van applications, but also in hot rods and things like that, where normally you wouldn't have the ability to have a front and rear fade adjust from just a no head unit type system if you're just going directly in with a phone or something like that. So yeah, pretty excited about that.
All right, Jay, so much information about this new and improved Link 6 Plus, but I did save one last question for you. A lot of installers always have a hard time figuring out load detection, right? Depending on the vehicle, it's all over the place. Sometimes things don't work and you're wondering, why is it turning on and why is it not turning off? And we know that Wāvtech already has this, technology in some of your other equipment. What about this new Link 6 Plus?
Well, yeah, we've always had loading in all of our LOCs since the very beginning, and the load requirements have changed over time. And in order to keep up with that, initially what we were doing is we came out with a little accessory, small little load device. The Link LD just plugs in, and that handled like late model Chryslers and things like that. But we always still had loading built in. But with the amplifiers, we came out with a new circuit that we call adaptive loading, and that actually gives you a much lower initial load, but still keeps that load on as it backs away as the factory voltage goes up. So it still controls the factory Class D switching noise, so it keeps that factory Class D filter working properly, but also provides the initial load that the load detect system in the factory is putting out is detecting, so it still thinks the factory speakers are connected. So that's the first that the Link 4, 6, and 8 that'll be brought into those three models, but it's the same circuit that we have in all of our amplifiers.
So really, this is a supercharged version of the previous Link, basically is what you're telling me.
Yeah, it's so different. I mean, it's so the same. It's literally identically the same size. I mean, here I've got the original Link 6, and you can just.
But look at the difference in controls.
Yeah, I'd say it's the same, but it's not. It's the same size, and that's about the only thing in common. Everything else is new and improved.
And just for clarity's sake, will the Link 6 continue to be available, or is this going to be a replacement?
It's going to be a replacement, yeah.
All right, very good. I'd like to take this opportunity and thank my special guest today, Jason Kemmerer from Wāvtech, for coming in and talking to us about these brand new products coming down the pipe. Of course, we talked about the brand new link 1400.8plus, new 8-channel, very powerful and capable amplifier with lots of flexible tuning options, and the new series of Link 64866, I think, is coming out first, and the new 6 Plus edition. And you just heard Jay talk about some of the cool new features there. Now, if you want more information, make sure you head on over to their official website found at wavtech-usa.com. Well, my takeaway with Wāvtech is, as always, when it comes to OEM integration, you are going to be hard-pressed to not find a tool that they offer in their arsenal, a solution to be able to fix or make happen what you're trying to do. And that is, of course, deliver great sound, whether it's a line driver, channel summing, integrating after the amplifier, making sure you're putting bass back in, whatever that may be. These guys have got it all covered. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.